faithfully delivering value, interpreting great books from around the world. Hello, this is Sally's Book Club. Today, the book we're interpreting for you is Anna Karenina. All happy families are alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. This is a very well-known saying. It originates precisely from Anna Karenina, the book we're discussing today. This novel explores 19th century Russian family and society through its protagonists, Anna and Levin. Spiritual struggles during turbulent times have resonated with countless readers for over a century. The author, Leo Tolstoy, stands as a titan in Russian literary history, his name forever linked with profound ideas. In libraries, people often request, "Librarian, give me a good book," something Tolstoy asks. Among Tolstoy's works, the one that best captures his genius is undoubtedly Anna Karenina. Dostoevsky once remarked that contemporary European literature contained no novel whose conception could rival Anna Karenina. One February day in 1870, Tolstoy excitedly told his wife, "I'll write about a fallen noblewoman, a pitiful yet innocent soul." This was the author's initial concept for Anna Karenina. He based it on a charismatic woman named Anna from a neighboring estate. After her later railway suicide, which deeply shook Tolstoy, he began writing 2 years later. But as his social observations deepened, Anna's character evolved remarkably. He added Levin's storyline and revised the manuscript 12 times, discarded drafts reportedly piled over a meter high. Finally, in 1877, 5 years later, the novel was published. Tolstoy called Anna his first true novel, with many plots drawn from personal experience. Educated as an aristocrat from childhood, Tolstoy devoured countless books. At 18, he dropped out of Kazan University, infiltrated Moscow's elite circles, and even served in the Caucasus military campaigns. These experiences exposed him to Russian societal realities and ignited his lifelong quest for truth. And all of this he poured into his novel, Anna Karenina. And let's first examine the novel's main plot. The novel unfolds through two parallel storylines. The first centers on Anna as the protagonist. The second storyline follows Levin as the main character, with both narratives artfully interwoven throughout the novel. Against the backdrop of 19th century Russian history, we'll first explore Anna's storyline. Born into aristocracy, Anna was arranged by her aunt to marry a high-ranking official in St. Petersburg. Though Karenina provided wealth and status, Anna felt no love in their marriage. Anna couldn't grasp what happiness truly meant. She only felt weariness and emptiness. Then came Count Vronsky, a dashing young officer who awakened Anna's dormant passions. She became his mistress, and when Karenina discovered them, he chose to maintain appearances rather than divorce. Soon after, Anna bore Vronsky a daughter. After childbirth, Anna contracted puerperal fever. Near death, she begged Karenina's forgiveness, which he granted to both her and Vronsky. Yet, upon recovery, Anna couldn't bear life with Karenina. She fled abroad with Vronsky, but when they returned to St. Petersburg, social condemnation and public scrutiny bombarded them, sparking bitter fights. To escape society's judgment, they hid at a country estate. Still, their relationship spiraled irreversibly downward. After a vicious quarrel, Vronsky vanished for 2 days. Consumed by despair and abandonment, Anna threw herself under a train. The second storyline focuses on Levin and Kitty. Levin, childhood friend of Anna's brother Oblonsky, was a landowning noble who rejected high society's glitter. He managed his rural estate, devoted to agricultural reform. Amid Russia's rural turmoil, he agonized over reconciling landowner rights with peasant welfare. He sought answers through voracious reading while conducting farm experiments. When visiting Oblonsky in Moscow, Levin fell instantly for Kitty, Oblonsky's sister-in-law, only to face rejection. Humiliated and resentful, he returned to the countryside to focus entirely on managing his estate, escaping this emotional turmoil. Well, when he returned to Moscow and reunited with Kitty, they cleared misunderstandings, and confess their love. They married in Moscow. Then Levin took his wife back to the countryside to start their new life. Anna's pursuit of love reveals the aristocratic high society, while Levin's social explorations reflect rural Russian life. These parallel narratives depict 1870s Russian society from multiple angles. In this sense, the novel is called an encyclopedia of contemporary Russian social life. So, where do Anna and Levin's stories intersect? At the Moscow home of Anna's brother, Oblonsky. The novel's second sentence states, "Everything was in turmoil at the Oblonskys." Chaos became the backdrop for power struggles in 1870s Russian society. Through depictions of chaos, tension, and misfortune, Tolstoy presciently foretold Russia's social crisis. First to descend into chaos was Anna's brother, Oblonsky. After his affair with the governess was discovered by wife Dolly, they fought bitterly. For days, the household was disordered. Servants quit, children unattended. Helpless, Oblonsky wrote to sister Anna, asking her to come to Moscow and mediate. So Anna traveled from Petersburg to Moscow to resolve the chaos. There, she settled her brother's family dispute and met Vronsky. Thus began an affair that would shake both family and society. Anna's loveless 8-year marriage to Karenina then spiraled into crisis. And Anna and Vronsky's tragic love story commenced. Meanwhile, Oblonsky's friend Levin fell for Kitty, who was then infatuated with Vronsky. Rejected, Levin returned to agricultural reforms. Thus, at the novel's outset, Tolstoy masterfully entangled all main characters, Anna Karenina, Vronsky, Levin, and Kitty. In Chaos, the novel focuses on 3 marriages, or rather relationships, Anna and Karenina, Anna and Vronsky, and Levin and Kitty. Through these marriages and families, Tolstoy explores society's and life's profound questions. 1977, the year Anna Karenina was published. That year, Tolstoy wrote in his diary, "To write a good work, one must love its fundamental idea. In Anna Karenina, I loved the idea of family. The idea of family forms the novel's central thread." Tolstoy's opening line, "All happy families are alike, each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way," became legendary, even called the Anna Karenina principle. How to explain this? Simply put, this principle means every element required for happiness must be present in a family. Thus, happy families resemble each other, while lacking any single element causes unhappiness. Hence, unhappy families each have distinct reasons for their sorrow. So, what is the core of Tolstoy's family philosophy? Or rather, what elements constitute a happy family in the novel? We can summarize 3 essentials: love, responsibility, and social acceptance, meaning spouses must first share emotional and spiritual harmony. Secondly, they must take mutual responsibility for the family. Finally, the union must gain social recognition and maintain status. Through this lens, we understand why the protagonist's marriages ended tragically. Anna and Karenina's marriage lacked love entirely. Their understandings differed fundamentally. Karenina, 20 years older, saw marriage as divine will, requiring rigid adherence to duty. Karenina was a disciplined bureaucrat who scheduled every minute, endless visitors to receive, documents to sign, meetings to attend. She spoke with stern precision, each word measured like spending rubles. He believed marriage must preserve appearances. Seeing others' wives stray, he'd declare, "How intolerable! Why not end this disgrace?" But when it happened to him, he grasped the shame yet couldn't end it, trapped by status concerns. Anna contrasted Karenina completely. Anna was beautiful, elegant, an avid reader with a rich inner world, radiating vitality. Anna wanted to discuss literature with her husband, but Karenina only cared about getting his new bill passed in Parliament. Therefore, Anna declared, "Karenina is suffocating my life. I need love. I need to live. I can't endure this anymore." Karenina was cautious, timid, and rigidly bound by routine. So when Karenina told Anna, "I love you," she felt absolutely nothing. Her brother Oblonsky once pierced to the heart of it. You married a man 20 years older without love. You didn't even know what love was then. That was the mistake. Unable to love her husband, Anna poured all affection onto her son. After Vronsky appeared, Karenin refused divorce and refused to grant Anna custody of their son. Now Anna overflowed with hatred toward Karenin. Without love, Karenin clung to marital duty and social propriety. He considered dueling, divorce, or separation. But dueling risked death. Divorce meant public scandal. Separation still ruined reputation. After agonizing, he chose to maintain their sham marriage to save face. They saw each other daily. As strangers, Karenin wouldn't even dine at home. Such a hollow marriage was doomed to tragedy. Later, Karenin went alone to Moscow, sent their son to his sister's care, and abandoned Anna in Petersburg. Yet Karenin wasn't heartless. At the races when Vronsky fell, Anna panicked in the stands and wept openly. Karenin fumed at her outburst, but back home, her tears unnerved him. He could only insist this was all Anna's fault. Anna had become a fallen woman. When Anna lay dying of childbed fever, Karenin, seeing her near death and Vronsky weeping, broke down and forgave them. Simultaneously, he secretly wished Anna would die to end his humiliation. This thought instantly filled him with guilt, driving him to prayer. These complex contradictions meant his suffering equaled Anna's. Anna and Vronsky eloped. When they reached Italy, he was left isolated, mocked by society with ruined career prospects, feeling this was his reward for forgiving his wife. In his despair, he had no one to confide in. Like Anna, Karenin tasted the bitter fruit of a tragic marriage. Nor did Anna and Vronsky's relationship end well. Their bond held love but lacked responsibility and social acceptance. Undeniably, Vronsky loved Anna too. He fell for her at first sight at the train station. Captivated by her sparkling eyes, the smile in her gaze, and her whole being's irrepressible vitality. This was the core of Anna's character and what drew Vronsky to her. Intriguingly, they seemed psychically connected, both glancing back after parting. When their eyes met, both felt an emotional surge. The subtle connection almost predetermined their fate. Rather than Vronsky awakening Anna's emotions, it was her suppressed passion's unique allure that ignited his pursuit. After winning Anna, Vronsky was deeply moved by love. He knew this sincere woman had devoted her heart entirely to him. Anna deserved the respect she was due. When others warned Vronsky not to let a woman hold him back, he retorted sternly, "Anna is nothing like those shallow women." Anna, for her part, devoted her love to Vronsky with immense courage, knowing breaking free from her current life would cost her dearly. Anna once told Vronsky, "Love means too much to me, far more than you understand." For her, free love symbolized a beautiful life. When Vronsky complained of social pressure, Anna steadfastly asked, "Vronsky, I have just one question. Do we still love each other? With your love, I am strong. Nothing humiliates me." At Vronsky's country estate, Anna read voraciously, even advising him on agriculture, architecture, and sports. Vronsky admired Anna, yet felt trapped in her web of passion, struggling to break free. One could say Vronsky's love for Anna lacked responsibility. Vronsky, born noble, an officer school graduate, was the epitome of a Petersburg playboy, spending vast sums yearly. His stable, happy life followed strict social codes. He thrived in military and elite circles. But 2 years ago, in youthful arrogance, he declined a high-ranking position. Instead of gaining higher prestige as he hoped, it made others stop caring about him, thinking he was just an honest but insignificant fellow. Vronsky felt lost and defeated inside, but Anna's appearance saved him. Conquering a charming married noblewoman like Anna brought him glory and pride no less than battlefield conquests. The scandalous extramarital affair, which caused a citywide uproar, ironically tormented Vronsky with his ambition for fame. Vronsky, tormented by ambition, temporarily found a balance in his vanity. But this balance was, after all, temporary. Vronsky once thought of resigning from the army to take Anna away, but then he changed his mind. What happened? It turned out he learned that a childhood friend and university classmate had recently been promoted 2 ranks and received a youth medal, returning to Petersburg in boundless glory. After talking with him, Vronsky realized his insight and ambition far surpassed his own. And what did it matter that he had Anna's love? He was still just a mere cavalryman. Vronsky's temporarily subdued ambition reawakened. He quickly understood he couldn't resign. He must stay in the army, waiting for the right moment, waiting for success and advancement. At this point, Anna not only failed to satisfy Vronsky's vanity, but she had even become his burden and encumbrance. After returning to Petersburg's social scene, Vronsky began frequently attending social events, participating in local noble elections, and such activities. Amid this lack of responsibility, the couple also suffered societal rejection. The happy life Anna desired was neither her dying marriage with Karenin nor the decadent passions of high society. From the moment she eloped with Vronsky, she had completely rejected society. Karenin refused to let Anna see her son and also refused to let her see old relatives and friends, including Vronsky's socialite mother, dissolute brother, and sister-in-law who associated closely with nearly 100 fallen noblewomen. Anna and Vronsky couldn't withstand the external pressures, but Anna, disregarding Vronsky's dissuasion, publicly attended the theater. As a result, noble ladies called her a fallen woman, feeling it a disgrace to sit with her. This caused a huge uproar. Yet Anna remained very composed, effectively declaring an open break with society. Petersburg's social circles had 3 main groups. One was the bureaucratic and political world, represented by Karenin. Another gathered elderly noblewomen and social climbers, known as Petersburg's conscience circle, the so-called philanthropic set. The third group was Petersburg's true social elite, a coterie of young noblewomen. Nobles across these groups often had affairs. Some took lovers just 2 months after marriage. Some noblewomen devised elaborate schemes to deceive husbands while enjoying trysts with lovers. Deception was essential for maintaining social harmony. Colleagues, superiors, friends, spouses, all relationships relied on lies to preserve stability and appearances. In this context, society might have tolerated Anna's affair had it remained discreet. But Anna demanded authenticity. She sought true love without pretense. This openly challenged the aristocracy's established order. Anna faced 2 paths: surrender to hypocrisy, like the corrupt elite, or defy conventions to love openly, whatever the cost. Anna chose the latter. In truth, she only did what many lacked courage to attempt. Anna's sister-in-law Dolly said, "Is it wrong she doesn't love her husband? She needs to live. God gave us hearts to feel. She doesn't submit passively like I do." Another noblewoman admitted, "Anna did what all secretly do, but refused deception. That refusal exiled her." Yet, after breaking with society, Anna collapsed before Vronsky in despairing sobs. She'd pinned all life's hopes on Vronsky alone. Social pressures, legal, religious, traditional, created her crisis, but couldn't destroy her. Anna had severed ties with society, equating happiness solely with Vronsky's love. She'd scorned public opinion, abandoned status and husband, even surrendered her son, her only anchor in 8 loveless years, just to protect their love. But Vronsky couldn't abandon his identity, wealth, and status as decisively as Anna did. And Anna was trapped in endless waiting. She even suspected Vronsky had a new lover. Their arguments grew increasingly frequent. Anna understood Vronsky's psychology perfectly. She said, "Though Vronsky does love me, mostly it's the triumphant pride of satisfying his vanity. When Anna realized the love she traded her status, family, and even son for had devalued, and Vronsky no longer responded, her resolve faltered, trapping her in doubt and despair. Anna declared, "I wanted love, but there is no love, so everything is finished." Anna knew, heretofore, where love ends, hatred begins. Finally, she went to the railway tracks and let the train run over her. After Anna's death, Vronsky, utterly despondent, went to war seeking death. Their story ended tragically. Anna's longing for happiness was the core of her character. The conflict between this desire and her religious spirit tormented her soul. This reflects Tolstoy's view of happiness, fundamentally Orthodox Christian, where enduring suffering is near worship, yet achieving happiness paradoxically brings guilt. After meeting Vronsky, while feeling her vitality unleashed, Anna constantly felt sinful. When she eloped abroad with Vronsky, she felt her happiness was almost unforgivable. Moreover, she suffered nightmares nearly every night, dreaming of Karenin and Vronsky, both as husbands caressing her. She'd wake repeatedly from this nightmare, tormented physically and mentally. She said, "I know I've caused Karenin pain, but I suffer too. I've done wrong, so I expect no happiness, no divorce. I'll endure the shame and agony of losing my son." She told her son, "Love your father. He's better and kinder than I am. I've wronged him. You'll understand when you're older." Whether begging Karenin for full forgiveness during her puerperal fever or whispering, "Forgive me," before the train, Anna revealed her spiritual burden. Her life force, craving, and religious piety pulled her between extremes, causing her death. This spiritual conflict was precisely a reflection of Russia's societal contradictions at that time. In 1861, although Russia had abolished serfdom, the nation still operated under religious institutions and autocratic systems entrenched for a millennium. Truthfully, within this system, Karenin suffered no less than Anna. Through Tolstoy's pen, this bureaucratic machine Anna described actually possessed a rich and conflicted inner world. He repeatedly asked himself, what had he done wrong? The cage of bureaucracy, patriarchal marriage, and aristocracy made him realize his high status only brought feudal struggle amidst falsehood, political deceit, and marital collapse, leaving only morality and religion to continue. As philosopher Berdyaev noted, Russia's national character holds deep duality and contradiction, precisely what made Anna Karenina among literature's most captivating heroines. Anna's prototype is said to be Pushkin's daughter, Maria Pushkina. Tolstoy met her just once. Then, 28, Maria's beauty and ethereal grace left Tolstoy profoundly impressed. Thus he shaped Anna Karenina's radiant image, betraying her class, escaping her family, walking toward suicide. What happened to Anna was exactly what Tolstoy wanted to do, but never did. Thus, Tolstoy both marveled at and feared Anna's character. Reportedly, after finishing the novel, Tolstoy sighed in relief. "I was nearly tormented to death." If Anna's story was turbulent and perilous, Levin's flowed calmly, the two narratives mirroring each other seamlessly. In the novel, during Anna's social persecution, she shared a brief but profoundly meaningful meeting with Levin. Though exchanging few words, they demonstrated remarkable mutual understanding. Levin, once condemning Anna's scandalous behavior, now admired her sincerity and wisdom upon meeting, fearing Vronsky might not grasp her depth. After Anna left, Levin marveled inwardly. What an extraordinary woman. He could deeply feel her strength. Exactly. From this, the two protagonists developed intense psychological resonance, both taking life seriously, courageously stepping forward to seek new paths aligned with their ideals. Here, the novel's dual plot lines formed an intrinsic connection. Tolstoy once said of the work's structure, "I take pride in my architectural artistry." And the structure's cohesion relied not on plot or character relations, but its own internal logic. Regarding artistic craft, the novel is most celebrated for Tolstoy's brilliant psychological depictions. Tolstoy wrote in his diary, art's purpose is to reveal the heart's true condition. Anna's conflicted journey unfolds through interlocking psychological shifts throughout the novel. Meeting Vronsky, witnessing a railway suicide gave her ominous foreboding, yet deciding to embrace him, she felt her eyes gleamed even in darkness. Preparing for suicide, her heart held both love and hatred for Vronsky. She desperately accused, everything's false, everything's lies, everything's deceit, everything's sin. Through layered psychological dissection, Tolstoy led inexorably to Anna's tragedy. In Anna Karenina, internal conflicts outweigh plot twists. The novel constantly reveals psychology through plot, scenes, actions, even landscapes never standing alone. For instance, amid agricultural failures and marital doubts, Levin contemplated mortality alone, listening to distant thunder and linden drips, seeking divine revelation. But unlike Anna's social rupture, Levin clutched societal and religious lifelines during inner turmoil. Levin was a noble landowner with 3,000 acres, passionate about rural life, peasants, farming, and hunting. This embodied his life's essence. He scorned urban lifestyles and despised political power struggles. He declared, I'd rather be a savage than waste life in decadent pleasure. At a Moscow noble banquet, Levin observed, in the country we trim nails and roll sleeves. Here they grow nails long and wear plate-sized cufflinks. Hands useless, we eat fast to work. Here they nibble oysters, starving themselves slowly. Levin's unconventional ideals, distinct from typical nobles and high society, also filled his views on marriage with contradictions. In the novel, Levin won his long-cherished love with Kitty, treasuring their marriage deeply. When Kitty accepted his proposal, he repeatedly asked, is this true? I can't believe you'd love me. He even nervously demanded to cancel the engagement while Kitty picked her wedding dress. Feeling unworthy of Kitty, he wept openly with emotion at their wedding ceremony. Kitty was a model noblewoman, kind and virtuous, living by society's expectations, but Levin was no Karenin. As an unconventional noble, Levin's ideals puzzled Kitty. She thought he overthought things and isolated himself. Why seek reforms when life's already satisfying? Levin's tense, painful psychological quests, Brother Nikolai's death and Kitty's childbirth screams, cast shadows over their seemingly happy home. Love and marriage couldn't resolve Levin's inner conflicts. Revisiting the Anna Karenina principle of marriage's three pillars, love, responsibility, social acceptance, Levin and Kitty upheld responsibility. They maintained aristocratic appearances, yet remained spiritually disconnected. Failing marriage's harmony requirement, Levin still faced his turmoil alone. His primary struggle, agricultural reform. The 1861 serf emancipation still privileged nobles. Serfs gained nominal freedom but owed labor to landowners. Peasants received scant barren land, burdened by 49-year redemption payments. For peasants, freedom meant bankruptcy, starvation, or urban destitution. The revolutionaries denounced this liberation as fraud. Peasants rebelled. In 1861 alone, over 2,000 Russian villages erupted in unrest. Rural chaos and fallow fields plunged Levin into profound anxiety. He pondered day and night, striving to find a solution that would both protect noble landowners' interests and alleviate peasant poverty. Later, he proposed that under maintained land ownership, landowners and peasants participate in agricultural operations as shareholders, splitting harvests equally. He called this method a bloodless revolution, but when explaining his blueprint to peasants, they didn't understand, focused only on bundling wheat for immediate transport. Peasants distrusted him, even regarding next season's harvest. They doubted landowners would ever prioritize their welfare. The shrewdest peasants vowed not to be deceived, while other landowners showed no interest in this management approach. Levin's reforms ultimately failed. After this failure, his brother Nikolai's death intensified Levin's inner conflict, driving him to contemplate mortality. The novel dedicates an entire chapter to Nikolai's death. Through this, Levin first realized death wasn't distant. Everything would end, yet he must live until then, and how to live? Nikolai's dying words made Levin fear death even more profoundly. Tormented daily by questions, what am I? Why do I live? He found no answers, filled with sorrow over life's emptiness, even contemplating suicide. He hid ropes to avoid hanging himself, carried no pistol to prevent suicide. Finding materialism inadequate, Levin read Plato, Kant, Hegel, and Schopenhauer, gaining insights into spirit, will, and freedom. But back in reality, this rational understanding collapsed. One time, Levin, working at the threshing floor, a peasant told him, "Man lives not for desires, but for the soul to obey truth." Levin remembered God and thus grasped life's meaning. Humanity's sole duty is faith in God and goodness, to live righteously. Life finds answers within itself by God's will. Reason serves only survival and desires. Only the heart saves, teaching me to love Levin and rethink life. When he tried sharing this with Kitty, she told him to tidy the wash basin instead. Levin no longer felt anger. He calmly agreed to Kitty's request and decided not to tell her. Because God had already revealed his insight, there was no need to express it with words. He finally knew who he was. What's the purpose of living? Filled with confidence, he said, "Now my life ain't empty no more, and I got the right to give life a clear meaning of goodness." Levin's spiritual quest. The pain on his path of pursuit was finally eased through religion. In a way, though the novel's named after Anna, the most important protagonist is actually Levin. Actually, Levin was Tolstoy's childhood nickname. Tolstoy poured his own life experiences into this character. In his youth, he inherited a huge estate with over 1,000 deshetons of land and more than 300 serfs. After dropping out and heading home, he personally managed farm work and devoted himself to rural reforms. That his reforms couldn't gain the farmers' understanding and ended up failing. His writing of Levin's fate was really his re-exploration of this issue. Like Levin, he lived simply in food and clothes, did physical labor himself, and refused to carry out noble duties. In early 1880, Tolstoy wrote in his Confessions, "I gave up the life of my class. I admit it wasn't life, just a semblance of it. Living conditions robbed us of the chance to grasp life. I turned my gaze to the Russian common folk, to the meaning they gave to life." Yet, like Levin, he never managed to resolve his inner conflicts. In November 1910, Tolstoy left his estate, but due to old age and weakness, he caught pneumonia on the way and died at a small train station, aged 82. Thus died a literary giant on a journey. Just like Tolstoy, Anna and Levin both tried to shatter the status quo in their lives and take a step forward, but failed in the end. The fates of the novel's protagonists are a real metaphor for Russian society and culture, and more so, Tolstoy's ultimate question, how an individual finds salvation. Though Anna Karenina is called the greatest social problem novel, from Levin's awakening and Anna's rebellion, we see it's fundamentally anti-rational and antisocial. Tolstoy's salvation ain't about social progress, revolutionary ideals, culture, systems, knowledge, or science. The epigraph reads, "Vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord." Through this scripture, Tolstoy expressed his view. The soul's laws are mysterious. No one can be the final judge. No human can condemn Anna. Only God or fate can punish her and grant her soul salvation. Only God knows all the world's secrets and humanity's ultimate destiny. Here, Tolstoy reveals what Dostoevsky called the world's greatest secret, the final fate of both the world and the individual. Anna once confessed to husband Karenin, I'm still me, but there's another me inside. I'm terrified. My soul is split in two, and I can't tell which is real. In despair, Anna chose suicide. Levin ultimately rejected suicide because he sensed God's will to achieve salvation while living. Through Anna, his mysterious muse, Tolstoy touched upon the enigma of the human soul. Precisely for this, Tolstoy earned worldwide acclaim. People say Tolstoy possessed such astonishing insight that the human psyche held no secrets for him. All right, that concludes our interpretation of Anna Karenina. Find reading notes below the audio. See you tomorrow.